Okay, so there are some things that I wanted to share. And the reason why I want to share these things is because I find that there's a lot of fluff out there and a lot of fluff that is being delivered in order for us to feel, I guess, cared for, taken care of when we're trying to make a change, make a shift, or if we're starting to feel like, oh my gosh, like nothing's working. I used to be able to drop 5 to 8 pounds easily and just doesn't seem to be working. Now, when we think of fat loss as opposed to weight loss, you could say to yourself, like, oh yeah, hey, I have this like big event coming up in 3 weeks and I need to lose some weight. So we usually tend to use that expression, I need to lose weight. And so, yeah, we can lose weight by losing water. We can lose weight by taking a supplement, let's say, to have excessive bowel movements to get rid of waste in our gut in order to drop weight on the scale. So if you weigh yourself regularly, you will see a pattern. And a pattern is a story, and a story tells you what's happening. So why I want to talk about fat loss as opposed to weight loss is because there is a huge difference. And fat loss doesn't happen in 3 weeks. Fat loss happens over a span of time. And the reason why I wanted to speak about it is because there are tricks and tips and tools that I can help with guiding you to that fat loss. Now, if you think about it, we have different kinds of fat. One of them is visceral fat. And visceral fat is the fat that's pretty much in the gut region, internal, around the organs. I'm no, what do you call it? Like a doctor of, internal medicine. I'm not somebody who's going to go scientifically deep into anything. All I'm going to do is give you sort of surface information, but I know, and why I'm so passionate about it is I know what I'm going to deliver to you will create results. As long as you do this for a span of time. You're not going to see a change in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. You will see a change within 5 weeks, 6 weeks. You will see another change after 11 weeks and another 15 weeks. I have had clients who have had plateaus where they don't move on the scale, nothing's happening, and they have this happen for like 3 weeks straight. And then all of a sudden, there's a shift, and the body says, yes, you stuck to it, you did not falter, and now I'm going to drop. I'm going to drop that fat weight. It's not I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose fat weight. And what that looks like is if you've ever seen that, I don't know, it's like you could even like look on Google for the image of 1 pound of fat. People have that in their hands and they hold that. And it's large. It's a large mound of that. And if you think about losing that, that is remarkable. That's impressive. Losing 1 pound of fat. And if you think about that visceral, which is all of this that's internal, that is not healthy. And that is usually the place where us women in our 40 plus um, will hold on to that weight and wonder how come that won't leave me, but my arms seem thin. Or they'll wonder why they carry it in their bottom and that they seem to have a really slim collarbone. So there's like these mysteries of like, how come I can't just say, I just need to do crunches and take the fat off right here. That's all I need to do. Well, in my training, when I speak to my clients, I say, you've got to trust a system, and a system has to be followed. And if you follow a system, you will see results. If you falter too much, because we're human, we have to give ourselves grace. We will make mistakes and we will be, oops, I ended up having that Frappuccino at Starbucks because I was having a really down day. Or, oops, I went to a kid's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese and I ended up eating some pizza. Okay, there's oops moments, but that doesn't mean that you've all of a sudden put on fat weight. It's just volume on the scale that you see because you overate something. So how do we get rid of that fat? And how is it that we get the body to say, yes, I want to get rid of it? Because the person who's putting me through this process is really, really, really doing this. Because when people yo-yo and they do things and they start things and then they go, screw this, I'm not getting results fast enough, screw it, I'm going back to what I used to do. That was more comfortable. The body goes, yeah, love it when they go back to the comfort. I love it when they don't want to change. Our bodies love complacency and they love to be comfortable. But when you push the limits a little bit, that's when the body's like, heck, I don't like carrying all this. This is hard. I want to get rid of it, shed it, and be lighter for it, because what they're doing is showing to me that they're committed to the process. Now, that seems a little airy-fairy in a way. But what I'm telling you is that if you yo-yo back to your old habits after 3 weeks, 5 weeks, and you don't give your body enough time to adjust, then you're never going to see what could possibly happen. So what is one thing that you need to do in order to see this fat loss happen? Oh, subcutaneous fat. That's the cellulite. So let's say some people say, like, how come I have these dimply marks on the backs of my arms? This is a fatty part, right? Back of the arms. How come I see this like cellulite or chunk right here in my back? I don't like that. Or why do people say, how come this cellulite on my behind won't go away? Like, I feel like I'm doing all the right things. I'm doing cardio, I'm taking my protein shakes, I'm doing all the things, but I seem to always carry this cellulite and this dimply looking, fat. And then I say to them, well, it's because you're overeating. That's the bottom line. Now, you can do all the cardio you want, you can do all the weight training you want, but if you don't pay attention to your eating, your body's not going to change. You can lift heavy and boost the amount of muscle mass in your body, which creates a higher metabolism, which creates a burning effect when you're at rest, which is amazing. But if you don't change your eating habits in a certain fashion, then you're going to constantly carry the body fat and you'll never see the results of the toning that you can get from your weights, lifting weights. So first, I have 8 rules. 8 rules, okay? So 8 rules to your solution. Number 1 is you only eat 3 meals a day, okay? Number 2 is you eat with 5-hour breaks in those 3 meals. So you must manage your day and figure out your timing. I'll go back to that. Number 3, eat your meal that you start of the 3 within 1 hour, finish all of your food. So let's say you go to a Thanksgiving dinner and you start eating your main meal at 3 p.m. You must finish that eating within that hour of 3 to 4 p.m. And after that, you have to wait 5 hours before you start to eat again. Okay? Now, number 4, begin every meal with at least 2, if not 3, bites of protein before anything else on your plate. So even in the morning, if you're making eggs, if at lunch you have a salad with chicken on it, and let's say at dinner you have salmon with some beans, green beans, and some, brown rice, always have 2 to 3 bites of your protein before you put anything else into your system. Tip number 5. Number 5, be sure to only have 1 protein source at every one of those 3 meals. So you shouldn't have eggs and bacon and ham all in one. You shouldn't have turkey with a side of bacon. I don't even know. I don't even know how to explain that. And that is simply because keeping things simple, make sure that the gut can metabolize it and make sure that it's digested properly. Different proteins behave in different ways. Now, I'm not going into that because that's not something that I pay that much attention to, because I just follow making sure that I eat one protein at one time at one of my meals. So just stick with me, okay? Number 6, don't eat after 9 p.m. That's not hard. There are so many people who don't eat after 7 p.m. and I find that hard. I eat up till 9 p.m. I always do, but I'll tell you why. And after I go to number 7, drink lots of water. It's not rocket science, but there is a number. So take your body weight, divide it in half, and that's how many ounces a day you should be drinking minimum. So just remember that if you're struggling with some weight loss, if you're not getting more than 2 liters a day, you need to put that into your regime. So carrying on to number 8, eat 1 apple a day. Okay. So where I fit an apple for people who tell me that, oh my gosh, my worst time of the day for my hunger is 2:30, right? It's kind of a hard time, you know, and I say, well, then eat your apple then. And then if they say, yeah, but you told me I shouldn't eat for 5 hours. And I say, yeah, but you're allowed 1 apple a day. So fit that apple in the day somewhere. Here's the last point I'm going to make about fat loss is intermittent fasting. I'm not doing a seminar on intermittent fasting. There is so much information out there and you can all find it. But what I will tell you is it's a great thing to do for us at our age. So if you're intermittent fasting, you should be doing at least 14 hours, upwards to 16 hours from the last meal that you ate to your sleep time to your morning time. So when you're in this mode, you've got to understand the reason why the 3 meals a day in 5 hours is so important. And then we're going to stop this conversation because this is the tail of it all. Is in between each of these 3 meals with 5 hours in each break. The first 2 hours that you eat after you've eaten, the first 2 hours after you've eaten, your body is satisfied and fed and you're full. The body has insulin, the insulin that you produce to break down your food and do all the things and all of this, the body processes that happen for you to use that food that you just ate is working to your favor, and it's fed your brain, it's done all the things. And then you hit hour 3. And hour 3 is the tale of a strong mind and willpower. And in hour 3 is when a lot of people text me and they're like, I am so hungry. And then I'm like, I get it. I've done this. I'm 3 years in doing this. And you'll get over it because your body will adjust. The body is very good at adapting to change as long as you stick to something. It will then shift and change. So hour 3, you're like, are you kidding me? I can't handle this. So here's a tool. Okay, the tool comes with this. So you can have fizz sticks in that span of time. You could have a hydration drink within that time. You could have an herbal tea in that time. So I told you I was going to do fat loss with tips and tools. And so in that 5 hours, you can have some of these types of drinks. You could have a coffee, black coffee. Okay. I don't recommend having creams. I don't recommend having almond creamer, coffee, hazelnut, blah, 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 because those are all hormonal disruptors. They're all like fat storage things. So black coffee, and if you drop a little bit of unsweetened almond milk, totally fine. Coconut milk, stuff like that, but don't buy those coffee shaker things. So I have a plethora of like all these fizz sticks because in my business, I carry a lot because I love it. But these are tools. Okay. So in that 5 hour time, so you're in hour 3 and you're like, oh gosh. So put a fizz stick in this, get in your water and enjoy it and try and forget about it. Now you're into hour 4 now and you're like, are you kidding? I can't stand this. Do you know what's happening in your body now? This is why this works. Your body has now gone into using your fat as energy. So when have you ever gone to a 4 hour window where you haven't panicked, but you've settled in and you've said, yes, my body is a well-fed, well-fueled machine. I have plenty of storage in my system. I have storage in my legs. I have storage in my butt. I have storage in my boobs. I have storage in my belly. I have storage in my arms. I am fine. I am hungry, but I am going to be fueled and I'm going to be fine because my body will use the fat in my system to fuel me to carry on. And now you're going towards hour 5 and you're like, yes, I'm going to get to eat soon. And when you get to that point, that's when your body is in a ready mode to have the whole cycle go again. But if in the 5 hour window, if you eat a meal within 3 hours, you're just going to spike your insulin. You're going to shoot up your blood sugar. The only thing that your body does when you spike your blood sugar and spike your insulin is it stores fat. That's all that happens. I live with a type 1 diabetic. I know what happens to her body every time she has a high and a low. And I have learned so much from living with somebody with diabetes that we have a gift. We don't have to worry about shooting ourselves up with insulin. We don't have to worry. Our bodies will adjust. So that is the bottom line, is that you need protein. You need 3 meals a day. You need 5 hours apart. Do not snack in between. If you do, try to grab a tool, and one of the tools are fizz sticks, tea, black coffee. And I love the hydration. I put hydration and fizz in my bottle. And just settle into knowing that that's what's happening in your body. Okay. So I wanted to cover those 8 principles because now we can move on from this, use this video, use this information, deliver it out, see how well it works for people. And then we can have a recap maybe next Monday. I'm totally open for doing next Monday, and having people who have the questions, because these questions are going to come up. People are going to put their walls up. And I understand, everyone, you're going to put your walls up and say, that sounds ridiculous. 5 hours apart, I'm starving. I don't care. I'm just going to eat. Well, all I'm saying is that it works because the body will use that fat weight that you have stored and it will use it for your functioning, whatever you may be doing. I'm just going to give you an example that when I work out after I come home from work, I will work out sometimes on a Friday. I will come home at 2:30. I'm not supposed to eat till 4. I will work out from 2:30 to 4, starving. And by the time I'm 40 minutes into my workout, I don't even know that I'm hungry anymore because my body's using that fuel that I've eaten for all of my energy that I need. And so that's why I've dropped body fat. Okay. So it is possible. It's just takes some work. So my goal for you is to find out, what is your 3 hour day or 3 meals a day look like? What are going to be your 5 hours apart? So we'll stop it here. And next time, let's have a Q&A. Show this to as many people as you can, and then we'll come back and revisit this. for anyone who's listening to this, if you have any interest in finding out what are some of these tools, because they work to help fuel you, give you some of that vitamin and that pep, because a lot of them have some green tea extract and caffeine in them. So, Jen, may I ask you to, would you, just to close us off, give a little testimony of the good, the bad, the ugly, and anything you would like to share about the journey that you went through when you started this, because it really helps people to understand.
When I started, and you're right, you gave me all those rules and said, okay, we got to do this for like 5 weeks and like try to like really stick to it for 5 weeks. So the 5 weeks initially was like super hard, just getting into that routine and just, yeah, like just planning the 3 meals and the timing and all that kind of stuff. But then, like, really, like within week two, I saw like already results. And you're right, for me, I've struggled for a long, long time with my weight as I've been in my 40s. Um, and it was the first time that I actually could see some results. And then, like, I literally almost every week, Rachel, like, was going down for the most part. And it did get easier. I will say that for sure. Like it got easier to just, okay, yeah, I'm gonna eat at 9, whatever, 2 and 7 or whatever my times were. And I really try to stick to the same times every single day, just as Jill says, keep it simple. Um, and I just kind of planned my work day around those times and what I was doing. And again, I will say I didn't fall off the wagon a few times or and message Jill like, oh God, I'm going like here. I'm gonna. Is it okay if I eat something? And of course, yes, you're gonna eat it and carry on. And the next day you get back on the bandwagon and keep going. But it was probably the first time in a long time, in 10 years, that I actually had results, and I did like lose 17 pounds doing it and felt good for the first time again in a very, very long time. So, yeah,
And you traveled when you actually did
I
that.
did. Right in the like it within the first like month and a half of starting, I went away for a week and I was sort of panicked, like, oh gosh, like, cause I'm not, I mean, I'm not, I'm flying somewhere and I'm not gonna, I'm gonna be eating out. I can't really pack, but I did still try when I could while I was away to like not snack a whole lot and really just try to stick to still 3 meals. And sometimes I just couldn't make the 5 hours in between just because I had the kids and everybody else um, there and it just didn't fit in. But I really did try to stick to what I could, and I never gained or lost any. I just maintained while I was away, so I was super happy about that. Because I
Yeah.
mean, again, I had a few drinks, I ate crappy food sometimes, so
Yeah.
yeah, so I was happy.
And you know what? When you're traveling and you think about the 5 hour window, I remember we spoke and I said, when you're in Banff, when you're hanging out with your daughter, when you're doing the family stuff, just look at your watch. And when they all want to go and get a croissant or a muffin or a bag of popcorn or whatever, you just say to yourself, I'm going to grab a tea, right?
Yeah,
Because there's tools, there's strategies to just settle in and being like, I'm good. I'm okay. I can still be social. I can still be within my group and my family. I just don't need to constantly be feeding like that. So, Mary, next time, I think I'm going to go over some of the different foods that we would incorporate, but I want people to start off with just trying this strategy first. Okay. So I'll leave it at that, but protein is so important. So protein shakes are amazing. Just, I would recommend, totally be honest with you, a full scoop of meal replacement and 1 scoop, add 1 extra scoop of Simply One. Okay, so that you get over 30 grams of protein. Okay.
perfect.
Yeah. So, okay. So thank you, you guys. And that was, half an hour or so. And I am glad that we spent this time, and I will post this, send it out. And thank you for being a part of this. Okay.
Thanks, Jill.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks.
Jill.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Jill.
you,
I'm
guys.
gonna share it for sure.